Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Raising Humans. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Today we are going to be learning about the different stages of boyhood. This comes from a book written by Steven Biddulph, and the book's title is called Raising Boys. So this is something that I came across this week, and I've read this book before, about 2 years ago. And it was recommended to me by a friend, and I found it really interesting. So at the time I had two boys, and I just wanted to make sure that I was tailoring my parenting accordingly. And some of the things that they were doing, like constantly fighting or arguing, or roughhousing with each other, just to show that was normal, and whether me allowing them to do that in a safe environment was okay. And one of the things and the main takeaways that I got from that book was the 3 stages of boyhood, which I'm going to talk about today. So what Steve does in his book is he splits the stages of a child growing up into 3 separate parts. So 0 to 6, 6 to 14, and then 14 plus. And these ages aren't set in stone. He just gives like as a rough guidelines, and this is what usually you'll find your child doing, and this is what we need to be doing as parents. So the first is called the gentle years, so for 0 to 6. And he says here, the focus for the child is love, warmth, security, and the primary caregiver here is the mother, or whoever is the main caregiver at this time. So here the goals are to ensure that the boy feels safe and happy. We can teach him trust and enjoyment of life, and just provide gentle care and fun experiences. So at this stage, usually in a nuclear family, you'll find that the boy is more attached to the mum, and they'll want to go to her when they want to be consoled, etc. And here is where they learn these soft skills that they need. So soft, kind, gentle, loving, a bit more empathetic. And then he moves on, and at this stage he'll say that as a father sometimes, if the mother is present in the upbringing of the child, that this is where the father may feel a little bit more useless because he doesn't have much of a role here. And it doesn't mean it's completely absent, it's just that especially if a child is being fed by the mum at that young age, then this is where the consolation happens a lot of the time. And as a father, you're more supporting and helping when you can, and you'll be the primary breadwinner of the family at this point. The second stage is called learning to be male. So at this stage, this is where the child is growing up now, and the focus here is learning how to be a male, but also building confidence. And this is where he seeks the father out, and at this point he sees the father as the primary caregiver, and he looks to the father to be a role model. And this is where he's seeking the approval of the father, wants to do everything with him as much as he can. And I've noticed this with my boys as well, that at this stage they want to do everything that I do, and whatever I do they try to replicate that as much as possible. Now, I knew this when the boys were a bit younger, and this is where it dawned on me that whatever they see me doing, this is what they think, that this is what an ideal male role model looks like. And therefore, at that age, if I was watching Netflix every evening and just being a lazy slob, gaining weight or being overweight or obese, and for them, they will feel that this is what an ideal male is, or the way I'm treating my spouse, this is the way that we should be doing that. Because for them, right, at that age, they'll think that I'm a superhero, and this is who I want to be like. And therefore, it was very important for me to adopt good practices and good habits, like the way I'm reading every night before I go to bed. I'll see Issa doing that every night. The way I'm going to train every single day, regardless of having a difficult day, he knows and he sees me going to train. And actively, if I'm working out at home, so I'll try to do press-ups or sit-ups here and there whenever we're just around. And even without telling them, even Iman right now, she's 1 year old. If I'm doing press-ups, she'll come beside me and start doing them, or try to do them anyway. And the boys will actually do them when I'm doing it, because they just want to try to copy dad. And even though Adam is still, he's not 6 yet, he'll see his brother doing it and he'll just want to do the same thing. Or if I'm running, whatever I'm doing, they want to do the same thing. So yeah, at this age, I do feel that he's at that stage where whatever I'm doing, he wants to do that. And what I'm actively trying to do as much as possible is try to involve them in whatever I'm doing, wherever I'm going. If I can, I'll bring them with me, even though they're not going to actively contribute or help with the task I'm doing. I want them to be around me as much as possible. And this is where, we are a bit more rough with each other, so we'll constantly be play fighting, fighting with each other and just being a bit more rough with him. I'll tease him a little bit more so he can become a bit more, he'll get a bit of a thicker skin, etc. And I feel like that's my job, for him to be a bit more thicker in the real world as well. What he says also is this is the time where we should be, as fathers, trying to make as much time as possible for our kids, between 6 and 14. And the next stage is from 14 onwards, becoming a man. This is a stage where he's seeking out other male companions or a mentor as such. And this is where, as a father, it's very important for us to be aware of the company that he keeps, because at this stage he's going to be more susceptible to what his friends are saying. And therefore, when he was younger, if we made sure that the crowd that he keeps are positive and they have good habits and good behaviors and the type of behaviors that we want when they are older anyway, then the people that he's around and he's seeking advice from is going to give him good advice. Or it may not just be someone his age, it may just be someone that's a lot older, so similar to the aged dad, that he might go to for advice, because for whatever reason there'll be times where he doesn't want to go to dad, whether that's embarrassment or wherever it might be. And therefore we need to make sure that the person he is going to is mature and has the right skills, values, principles. Our belief system is the same, where they're going to advise him of something positive, and I'm making sure that he's around that type of person, even at this age. So when he becomes 14, he knows that this is the paradigm that he's living in, this is the values that we want him to adopt. And one of the key things he says about this is that as they grow older, they're not switching from primary caregivers, mum, and then dad, and then someone else, but rather he says that it's more of a recipe, so you're adding more and more every time. So initially, it'll be the mom that he's craving the attention and love from and learning these soft skills from. And then later, the father becomes a much more dominant figure, but the mother is still there. And therefore, when he becomes 14, and a mentor comes into the picture, all three of them together are helping raising this boy. And therefore it's not one and then the other, but rather we're just adding more and more support, scaffolding and guidance for him. So this is the 3 stages of boyhood from Steve Biddulph in Raising Boys. Sorry, not Raising Humans is my channel. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so. And I found that beneficial because it gives me a structure. And like I said, the ages are not concrete. It's just, these are the general ages. It may be a bit earlier, maybe a bit later. But as for boys, this is the structure that he says. And this is the things that I'll be thinking about when Isa gets older as well. So I hope that you found that beneficial, and I hope that you can act upon that knowledge as well. Let me know what you think. Do you think that this is relevant? Do you think it's not relevant? Like I said, when we talk about these concepts and beliefs, this is just someone's opinion, and this is a study of one person. It doesn't always mean that it's correct or correct for you or your life as well. So let me know. Do you think that it was beneficial? Do you think it's true? If you're a parent of an older boy, did they follow these similar steps or stages? I'd be interested to hear your opinion. And that's all from me today. Thank you very much for listening. Like and subscribe if you haven't already done so.